Hi everyone, my name is Vasha Makri. Thank you for joining us in today's presentation. Today we're going to go over some basic concepts in circular economy. So to start, the agenda for today is, first of all, what is the circular economy? Then we will move on to why it is so important, how it applies to your business, what it means in practice, and we're going to finish with what support is out there for your business. So, what is the circular economy? Before we start explaining that, we have to go over our current model, which is the linear model. In the linear economy model, we have materials that are sourced from the earth. They are used in a production process to create products that are then sold, and this is where the profit generation happens. The products are then used, and they are, after the use, they are incinerated or landfilled. This has been a very efficient model in the sense of economic growth. It has allowed for a lot of people to get their needs met really, really fast. However, as you can see, it is not sustainable long-term because, first of all, the Earth's resources are not infinite. So the scarcer they become, the higher the commodity prices. Second of all, it creates waste that pollutes the Earth's ecosystems. The Earth gets overused and we are faced with resource scarcity. But basically, it's a model that is bad for the environment, bad for people, and bad for the economy as well, long term. Over here in this graph, this is a UN graph created in 2017, and it shows how the world population changes from the 1950s to 2100, and that is a six-fold potential increase, resulting in about 12.5 billion people. So that increase, coupled with the fact that we're trying globally to get everyone out of poverty, everyone should have a good quality of life, you can see how that is going to create a lot of pressure on resources. On this map over here, you can see that these are the countries that account for the largest share of global supply of critical raw materials. So you can see that we depend a lot on Asian countries for a lot of materials. And then we have Southern America, we've got Africa, and you can see that there are some countries that are richer than others in resources, and that is likely to create some political tensions in the future, especially when the resources become scarce. We basically depend on other countries' willingness to provide us with these resources at a price that we can pay. So what is the alternative to that linear model? The alternative is the circular economy model. So first of all, this is not a new concept. Before the creation of landfills, sophisticated waste management systems, and the discovery of plastic as a cheap, malleable, and durable material, people would actually use their waste as a resource because the resources were quite expensive, but also because waste had to be managed more locally. So that's what used to happen in the past. However, after years of globalization, we managed to decouple the generation of waste from the production of materials in our mind. We don't have to, we don't see where our waste goes. Anyway, the circular economy is a system that makes sense. It's a system of efficiency where priority is given to reducing the generation of new material and consequently waste in the first place. And then sophisticated design allows for long life, repairability, and recyclability of products. Profit generation doesn't only happen in this stage over here, like in the linear model, but it allows for profit to be generated in other stages as well, and through very quite innovative business models. So in the circular economy model, as you can see, things that have been sourced from the earth that we have all around us were produced and sold and used. They never get incinerated or landfilled, but they get repaired, reused, refurbished, remanufactured, and recycled. Materials remain in the economy, they remain in the loop. We try not to take anything out of the earth, We try not to leave anything on the earth or on the earth's ecosystems. We operate within this loop that is made out of materials that are already in our economy. In this, the opportunities when we use the circular economy model go from reducing operating costs to improving competitiveness, strengthening customer, employee, and supplier relationships, but also creating more robust supply chains, because if we know what materials we have around us and the quantities, then we don't have to worry about price increases as much. So having gone over the linear economy model and having gone over the limitations and its failings, it doesn't really come as a surprise that the UN, the European Union, and the Scottish Government, among others, have adopted an agenda for circular economy. Let's see why circular economy is so important. So as we said, in 2015, the UN agreed on launching the Sustainable Development Goals, which is an agenda of really ambitious goals that cover everything from environmental sustainability to poverty eradication, access to food, a lot of really good goals. The European Union, part of its, a big chunk of its policies has been to create the Green Deal that has a circular economy action plan as one of its most important parts. Scotland has declared a climate emergency and has set a goal for net zero CO2 emissions by 2045, and in 2016 published its circular economy strategy called Making Things Last, a circular economy strategy for Scotland. We also have the new environment bill that extends responsibility for waste disposal to those who produce it, reducing waste in the long term, as well as creating incentives for the reuse of material and moving towards a more circular economy. So in order for the Scottish Government to implement its plan for circular economy, they are collaborating with Zero Waste Scotland that helps authorities, academia, and businesses transition towards circularity. Specifically for business engagement, Zero Waste Scotland has created the Circular Cities and Regions program that will help cities and businesses transition to circularity. This program is delivered in partnership with local organizations. So in Glasgow, we have the Glasgow Chamber of Commerce delivering the Circular Glasgow program. In Edinburgh, it's Edinburgh Chamber of Commerce. In Tayside, we have a collaboration between Dundee and Angus and Perthshire Chamber. Northeast, Circular Northeast is delivered by Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce. And then we have Highland and Island Enterprise collaboration for the Highland and Islands area. Here is a schematic representation of what we said, how it all trickles down from the UN all the way down to our cities and regions. So we talked about opportunities, we talked about financial opportunities. So because circular economy is a largely uncharted area, there is so much potential for innovation in both products and in business models. For example, a report that was developed for the Tayside region in Scotland estimated a £404 million opportunity for Tayside. If you want to find out about the potential in your area, don't hesitate to contact one of your local circular managers. So how does the circular economy apply to your business? Sometimes it's quite difficult to assess what the best course of action is. And for that reason, we have really useful tools like the zero waste hierarchy. So the zero waste hierarchy, it's basically just a pyramid that on the top we have the most preferable option for how we deal with material and waste, going all the way down to the least preferable, actually unacceptable option. So for waste, in the first step, we should try and refuse material as much as possible from packaging material or any other type of material. We should take a step back and rethink our services, rethink our product, and try to reduce the amount of waste that is going to be generated from it. and redesign. That is one of the most impactful ways to change the generation of waste. And after that step, we have reduction and reuse of material. Then we have preparation for reuse. Recycling, composting, and anaerobic digestion are the fourth step, as you can see here. Whatever can't be processed in this step should be recovered through material and chemical recovery. And after all of this, we should find a way to manage our residuals in an environmentally friendly way. Landfilling is unacceptable. It is not an option anymore. So what are some practical steps your business can take just now? What are some ideas? First of all, you can repair what you already have instead of buying new. You can also upgrade. You can choose reusables instead of single use. And you can buy things with their durability in mind. If they are from materials that last a long time, then you won't have to buy new things. You can use a service rather than buying a product. You can donate your unwanted items to charity. You can lease, borrow, or rent instead of buy. You can redistribute your unwanted food. And you can also work with your suppliers in order to come up with solutions that generate less waste in the long term. So we will now go over some ways in which your business can profit from the circular economy. And we're going to offer some examples. These are only 5 of the multitude that are out there. If you want to learn about any more, please don't hesitate to contact your local circular manager. The first one that we're going to go over is circular supply chain, where we use bio-based or renewable materials instead of renewable resources. Instead of non-renewable resources, excuse me. Some examples are eCover. eCover has created bottles that are a blend of 75% plant plastic and 25% post-consumer recycled plastic. The plant plastic comes from fermented sugarcane, and then the bottle can be recycled again and again and again. So you can see that they have kind of closed the loop on their product. Another good example is Argent Energy, that is using the oils and fats from cooking to create biodiesel. And then we also have Aurora Sustainability that use used coffee grounds to grow mushrooms. As you can see, they're all using renewable resources in order to create products or fuel cars in the case of Argent Energy. So can you manufacture products from bio-based or renewable materials? Can you replace non-renewable resources with bio-based or renewable materials? The next opportunity I want to go over is recovering and recycling resources. So can you basically create your product through recovered resources from waste of byproducts or byproducts? One example of a company that has done that is MacRibber, that use plastic in order to create their asphalt mix. 1 ton of MacRibber mix contains about the equivalent of about 80,000 plastic bottles. So that just goes to show what they can do with that plastic. Another example is Project Beacon, based in Glenfarg. It's the world's first advanced plastic processing facility. So what they do is they have state-of-the-art plastic recycling facilities in the same space. And in that way, they ensure that most of the plastic is recycled rather than have large amounts of it kind of falling through the cracks. Another example is Glasgow-based Joe Brew. They take brewery waste basically, and instead of using it as for an aerobic digestion or just letting it rot, they're actually creating protein bars, and they're bringing that waste much higher in the waste hierarchy. So can you collect or recover materials from end-of-life products and reuse them in new products? Can you return wasted parts or materials to the source? The next The next opportunity I want to go over is product life extension, where we extend the life cycle of products through repairing, upgrading, or remanufacturing them. Some examples of that are market transmissions that remanufacture automotive transmissions. Instead of getting new ones, they try to extend the life of their existing ones. You also have Edinburgh Remakery, where people can take their broken furniture and they get fixed, and they can also learn how to fix them themselves, which allows them to do it again and again for all the furniture they have in their house. And in Tayside, we have Angus 3D that uses additive manufacturing and 3D printing to create, it can create parts, it can create tools, it can create a lot of things through that technology. But what is really important about it is that it reduces manufacturing waste from 87% down to 7%. That is a huge reduction in waste generation in the manufacturing process. In addition, it can cut down on CO2 emissions, since parts and bits that people want don't have to be shipped from wherever they were manufactured. The templates, the designs can be sent by email, downloaded, used for the printing, and voila. So can you design products that are durable and easy to repair? Can you offer repair and maintenance services to extend the life of the existing products instead of trying to sell new products all the time? Can you resell products that have reached the end of their useful life to second or third hand markets? Can you take back a product and transform it into something new? The next model that I want to go over is sharing platforms. With a sharing platform, you can maximize the use of underused assets by sharing it, sharing access, or sharing ownership. Some really good examples of that are Olio. It's an app that people can use to share surplus food. Another really good use of a sharing scheme is the tool library in Sterling. What they do is, there is a very interesting fact that we rarely use all the tools that we have in the house. For example, a drill will spend about 8 minutes of its life being used, and the rest of the time it's just going to be stored away in a cupboard. So in Sterling, they created this tool library that people can just rent or borrow a tool for however long they need it, and then just return it. And I'm sure that most of you have heard a lot about car sharing schemes. One of these is called lift share, where you can just share a lift, reducing the amount of cars on the streets. So can you develop solutions that enable the increased use of capacity? Can you share your assets such as property, tools, equipment, anything that stays unused for a lot of the time? And the last model that I would like to go over today is the product as a service, where we move away from product ownership and we offer paid access to products. Some examples of that are Egg Lighting, Glasgow-based company. What you do, instead of buying lights and fixtures, you basically buy the service of having light. They are responsible for the maintenance and the upgrade of the equipment, and you can be safe and sure of the fact that you're going to have high quality service delivered to you, but you won't have to own the light and the fixtures, and you won't have to take responsibility for upgrading them. Rendezvous is another company that rents clothes and accessories for whatever occasion they are needed. That's a great idea, especially for those clothes that we only need to wear once or twice and spend the rest of their life in our wardrobe. And another example is Deso, that leases carpets to commercial customers. Not only the carpets are leased and returned, but Deso makes a point of having their carpets with an eco-based backing that is 100% recyclable, and it is it's 75% of that is positively defined recycled content from the drinking water industry. After the carpets are returned, they can be recycled in Deso's recycling facility, where the yarn and other fibers are separated from the backing. So it's a really good closed loop kind of product. So can you offer customers to use your product against a subscription fee or a usage-based charge instead of owning it? Can you offer customers to buy a predefined service and quality level and commit to guaranteeing a specific result? So I would like to go now over some practical examples in our cities and regions of businesses that have a circular economy product or circular economy business model. We will start with Tayside. One of Tayside's biggest waste streams are unused fruits and vegetables. So we have almost 61,000 tons of harvested fruits and vegetables that are wasted. Majority of them are potatoes, but we also have a lot of carrots, berries, apples. So there are a lot of opportunities to transform this fruit and vegetable into new products. And this is exactly what companies like Get Wonky, Ogilvy Vodka, Rubies in the Rubble, Sperfruit, and Oddbox have done. Check out some of the case studies that we have on the Circular Tayside website. From Glasgow, we have some examples of circular manufacturing. First of all, there is the Advanced Manufacturing Innovation District near the Glasgow airport. And opportunities in manufacturing exist at the design stage of products with considerations for modular design, the durability of products, as well as products as a service, and take-back schemes for remanufacturing or refurbishment. So for manufacturing specifically, we can have circular economy practices over all the aspects of the manufacturing process, with the design being especially important. Some examples of circular businesses include the Scottish Leather Group, Egg Lighting that we mentioned before, Elite Beds, and Sofa for Life. Check out their website for more examples. In Edinburgh, we have a very interesting example that shows how circular economy doesn't have to be applied only on a specific business or on a specific product, but on even on a bigger kind of umbrella. Edinburgh, it's a festival city with about 11 festivals taking place across the year and having about almost £300 million economic impact. So we have two examples. We have the Fringe Festival and the Edinburgh Science Festival that have used some circular economy practices. First of all, they have reduced the use of single-use plastics, and they have used reuse schemes for sets, props, and costumes, so they're not thrown away after the end of the festival, but reused in some sort, in some way. The other thing that they have done is deal with the food and drink waste and the associated packaging, but also they have digitalized their tickets and brochures to reduce paper waste. More examples can be found on their website over here. And now I would like to go over Circular Northeast that are offering us some tips on circular construction. For those of you that don't know about it yet, circular construction is a construction is a hugely wasteful industry. 50% of Scotland's resource consumption goes for construction, and about 50% of its waste comes from construction as well. In addition, construction uses a lot of energy, so CO2 emissions are quite high. So some tips from Circular Northeast for construction is to design out the waste both during construction and during ongoing maintenance. Refurbish and reuse existing buildings and materials to minimize the need to pay for materials to go off-site. Design the building for adaptability in order to enable it to be adapted to different uses. Instead of having a building just as a house, maybe we can design it in a way that can be a house for 10 years, offices for 10 more, and have a much more adaptable building. Use recycled content to promote reuse and recycle any waste. Some examples here are Kenopec that have this really good brick that I think about 90% of it is made out of recycled demolition material, and after the end of its life, it can also be recycled further. And obviously Macribor that we mentioned earlier in the presentation that uses plastic bottles, plastic waste, excuse me, to make roads. So what support is out there for your company to become one of our circular companies? I mentioned earlier the Circular Cities and Regions program that covers Glasgow, Edinburgh, Tayside, and Aberdeen and Grampian. So these projects work to increase the understanding and adoption of circular economy to help support the transition from linear to circular. They provide circular economy advice and guidance to local organizations. They work with SMEs to help them identify opportunities and, where appropriate, support applications for Zero Waste Scotland support that we're going to go over in a bit. And lastly, identify and support collaborative circular economy opportunities, because it is extremely important that there is collaboration. We can't have circular economy unless we have collaboration. So what is the support offered by Zero Waste Scotland? First of all, Zero Waste Scotland has a huge bank of experts. They are experts in circular construction, design, manufacturing, hospitality. There is circular expertise on pretty much any industry. Another thing that is offered by Zero Waste Scotland is free circular economy business support that can go over innovation and opportunities identification, market assessment, support with business plan, life cycle analysis, commercial case development, pretty much anything that you would be interested in exploring for your circular economy idea. In addition to the business support service, there is also the Circular Economy Investment Fund that is aimed at Scotland-based SMEs, and it covers innovative circular economy products or innovative circular economy business models of technology readiness level 4 and above. So projects that are at the commercialization stage. The key word here is innovation. The funding that is available is between 50,000 and £1 million grant funding, and the application is just a two-stage application process. You can find the first stage application on the website, but I strongly recommend that if you would like to investigate further into either the investment fund or the business support service, you first talk with your local circular economy manager. So what are some next steps for you? First of all, you can go and check out the website of your local circular projects, and I'm sure you will find a lot of events that are going to be very interesting, and they can cover construction, they can cover hospitality, food waste. I'd really recommend you start by going to this event so you learn a bit more about circular economy. The second thing you can do is identify a potential project for your company. And after that, contact your local circular economy manager and they will be able to take it from there with yourself. And here you can see the contact, the websites for our circular regions. From behalf of all of us from the Circular Cities and Regions program, we would like to thank you for your attention and to welcome you to this transition from linear to circular economy. Thank you again for joining us and have a great day.